You're ready. Call to order the Kearney R-1 Board of Education meeting. Everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Darlene Bailey,
Here.
Brian Ham, Dan Holloway, John Kern,
Here.
Bree Switzer, here, Susan Warman, here, Mark Kelly.
Here. A quorum being present, entertain a motion.
Move that the agenda be approved as presented.
Second.
All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Next, we have public comment. And for those folks listening and who will be participating, we appreciate you taking the time to talk to the board tonight. The time that you have is 3 minutes. Would ask that you work very diligently to keep your presentation to those 3 minutes. Also bear in mind that the board cannot respond or will not respond to you. That is not a reflection on our thoughts or our concerns for what you have to say. And the other is, I believe everyone's topic is going to address a topic that is not on the board agenda tonight. And our board comments are supposed to be limited to what is on the agenda. We are making a special change to allow that because we know of the import to the patrons of the district. And at that point, we look forward to hearing what you have to say.
Who is her?
Randy Mansell. Randy Mansell, yes.
So can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
This is going to be very difficult. Hey, give us 1 second. We'll get these out. You got to kill. Everybody's going to have to mute their phones, or we're going to get feedback all the way through.
That's what it is. Okay.
Kill the phones.
Kill the phones.
We're waiting on everybody to mute their phones. Are you guys ready?
And waiting.
Hello.
Yes.
I see their mouth moving.
Yes, we're ready.
It's been a little more convenient if we could have came in.
Yep.
I can't hear a word you're saying.
Proceed.
What is she telling me?
I don't know if you can see me or not.
All right, I'm going to speak. I hope you can hear me. I'd like to start off by recognizing the tremendous stress put upon you as a group and individually. We respect what you do to keep this a high quality district. However, we believe that the guidance that you are using to make the decisions for the welfare of the children is based on misinformation from false sources and doesn't put the value of the input of the parents.
Okay.
They
I
can't.
can't hear you inside.
What do you want me to do?
Somebody else not tell us what to do.
Be nice, they just let somebody walk in.
Try it again. No, it's inside they can't hear.
Can you hear me? Okay, they said you couldn't hear me. All right, so I'm going to start over. We don't feel like that the guidance that you are using to make your decisions for the welfare of the children is based on, we feel like it's based on misinformation, false resources, and does not value the input of the parents. The statement that you sent out on May 14th and 17th made no attempt to even consider a majority of the parents and the students' concerns. You've doubled down and used discriminatory and coercive language against everyone who is not vaxxed and masked. You stated that with only 8 days of school left, we were to stay in masks, or the kids were. Several other school districts are now maskless, and I'm sure you know who they are. They chose the kids over the fear. I've provided you with examples of how these districts have done that. So why haven't you followed their lead? Why do we have to be different? I've provided you with a study that shows in-seat school statistics with mask versus no mask. It illustrates no difference in infection rates. Stop trusting the federal mandates of the CDC, who you deem as medical experts, and they spew fake agenda-based science. Start listening to the hundreds of thousands of far more competent medical doctors and researchers of the frontline doctors who have been censored, their lives and their families have been threatened and even jailed for trying to spread the truth to the world. Children of all people are the least likely to transmit or die from the virus. Everybody is scared to death over nothing. The death rate for children is 0.06%. That's a survival rate of 99.94, just short of zero. They're more likely to die of cancer. More children die annually of drowning in car accidents. Hey, so are we going to make the swim team wear scuba now? Are we going to let the children or keep the children from riding cars? You can still have effective control, transmission control through physical spacing, sanitizing, hand washing, daily symptom and temperature checks. If those who believe the masks are so effective, they are more than welcome to have their children wear one or two. The CDC and the WHO have stated numerous times that the masks are ineffective and are detrimental. People right here have talked about.
So presenters, you need to be on a computer where you can present and you would recognize whether if we're talking to you. It will be to your advantage and to the board to be able to hear you and present. And unless we tell you otherwise, we are hearing what you have to say. It was very difficult with Mr. Mansell in his presentation. I would hope that the rest of the presenters can have a better way of presenting. Please proceed with Darren Ross.
Way to go, Randy. Yeah.
Mr. Ross?
They don't want to hear the truth.
Can you guys hear me? Okay, so first of all, I want to thank the board for doing everything you guys do. I know you guys put a lot of time, energy, and effort in what you do, and I want to say thank you for me and my family and everything. I also want to say that last year, Neil Ferguson of the Abdul Latif Jameel Institute for Infectious Disease and Emergency Analytics put out a number that said there were going to be 2.2 million people die from COVID. Unfortunately for Neil, fortunately for us, that number was inflated by 25 times. That's like saying you're going to pay a teacher $50,000 a year when in fact you're going to come back and pay them $2,000. Also, the PCR tests were falsely calibrated at 40 cycles when they should have been calibrated at 17 cycles. March 12th last year, I made a statement. I said, this is the most well-executed strategic marketing campaign the media has ever dropped on humanity, and it's nothing but a test drive for something much bigger to come. Here's the whole deal. This whole pandemic has been about two things: control and dehumanization. Control and dehumanization. Now, here's the deal. If any of you are practicing Satanists and Satan worship, you probably already know this, but part of Satan worship includes mouth coverings, face coverings, and staying 6 feet apart. If you didn't know that, you know it now. Here's the deal. This isn't about the mass people. This is about good versus evil. It's not about Democrat versus Republican, conservative versus liberal, black versus white, gay versus straight, fat versus skinny, employed versus unemployed. It's about flat out good versus evil. Here's the deal. Klaus Schwab, the chairman of the World Economic Forum, wrote a book called COVID, The Great Reset. In the book, it says, the pandemic represents a rare but narrow opportunity to reflect, reimagine, and reset our world. Reflect, reimagine, and reset our world. If you don't have a copy, pick one up. Here's the deal. You guys are all well-educated people. You college degrees, master's degrees, doctorate degrees. You got a great attorney running the ship there. I know you guys are doing really well in there. Why don't you pull together some of your information, your expertise, and stop following fake science and start using common sense. Here's the deal. I asked my sophomore daughter, Josie, yesterday. She's in Florida. I called her. I said, hey, Josie, tell me 2 things about your school year. I said, what have you learned this school year and how much time you spent on homework? Here's what she said. Dad, I've learned how to use my resources and teach myself. And I spend 8 hours a week on homework. Tremendous use of taxpayer dollars, don't you think? Here's the deal. I know you guys are sitting there right now and saying, it's okay, it's okay. The kids are okay to be muzzled. They've been muzzled for 15 months. It's only 5 more days. They can be muzzled. Here's the deal. It was only going to take 14 days to slow the spread. We're into 15 months, people. This is nonsense. I'm going to ask you guys 3 questions. And you need to ask yourself this. Is it biblical? Is it constitutional? And does it make sense? Is it biblical? Is it constitutional? And does it make sense? You guys are better than this. Our kids are better than this. Our community is better than this. And our school district is better than this. So why don't you guys stand up and act like a real school district, like Lee Summit and Blue Springs, and remove these masks, muzzles.
Yeah.
Remove these masks, muzzles, face diapers, and face masks.
Again, to the presenters, I apologize that you were being cut off. I'm trying to give you an opportunity to summarize and would appreciate if you would be deferential to our time. We have put 3 minutes up on the screen, on your screen, so you will know when the 3 minutes are up. I'm letting you know and trying to give you the opportunity to summarize. I am not trying to cut you off at 3 minutes, but if I can't get a response, that's what I'm forced to do. So please, for the next 2 presenters, at 3 minutes, I will remind you, I know the clock will count down. It is not because we are trying to cut you off, but we do want you to be cognizant of our time constraints as a board and what's going on. So with that, it is Debbie Park at this point.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm Debbie Park. I don't know if you called me up next or not. I couldn't hear anybody. All right, we come tonight with the concerns of our children. It should be up to the parents and the guardians to decide if a child should wear a mask or not. It should not be up to the school district or the government. The district has been following the CDC guidelines, who clearly state it is recommended, not required, to wear a mask. These masks are harming our children physically and mentally. In the statement on May 14th, it said, at a glance at our social media feeds prove that great things are happening at our school every day, no matter what. Our efforts are to putting students in positions to thrive. You should not be glancing at a social media page to figure out if students are doing well or not. Our children are not exceeding. Online programs are not helping our children. Parents are being told that the children that did online may need to be held back because they are not where they need to be. We have children being punished if they do not have their mask over their nose the entire time. They may not be able to participate on certain activities, or if they have too many offenses. This is mentally messing with our children, and it's completely wrong. Our children should not feel like they're going to be disciplined for not wearing a mask. It is not something that is wrong. Children have developed medical issues, anxiety, sinus infections, dental decay, throat infections, migraines, lung infections, and the list goes on, not considering the children that have hurt themselves and are on suicide watch. On the statement on May 17th, it didn't address anything about the upcoming summer or the fall school, and this doesn't allow parents enough time to make a decision for the children to go to summer school, nor does it take in consideration for the majority of the parents and students with concerns. Several of our schools in the district area, like was mentioned, have removed the mask. It doesn't matter if there's 1 day or 5 days left of school, it needs to be removed and our kids need to get back to breathing. The EU products are by definition experimental, which requires people to give the right to refuse them. It is illegal to require them without the consent of the person. The school board has been elected by parents. You guys serve us and the children in our community. Don't serve the government. We need leaders that will not follow the crowd, and that will stand up and do what is right. Just like when you said the Pledge of Allegiance to that flag. We are the majority that has been silenced too long. These are our children's future and our lives, and we won't stop fighting.
Yeah. Well done. Well done.
I was the last one there, or I can get this up.
Next, we have Christina Alexander.
Yeah, I think it's.
Carrie,
is it Christina?
Ms. Alexander? Alexander? Alexander?
All right.
Alexander.
I'm not sure if y'all can see me. Hang on. How do I make this go away? So I can see that I'm here.
Yes.
You
Yes.
start. Start, right? Okay.
There you are. Well, let's do. Just
Go ahead.
see if you can tell it. There you go. Ask them if they can hear you.
Can you guys hear me? Yes. Okay, I apologize. Sorry, I'm not a techie person. Hi, my name's Carrie Alexander. Sorry, I'll probably get a little emotional about this. So I have a student who is in 8th grade this year, and his education was affected so much to the point that we withdrew him in March. The week before spring break, we actually decided that he was so far behind and his educational abilities were so far lacking by the school district, and not by any fault of the teachers, because he had excellent teachers who tried really, really, really hard to help him and help other students. And it really came down to a fundamental issue of how far behind was I going to let this child get, because he was not getting these services that he needed through the school district. And so, like I said, the week before spring break in March, we unenrolled him. We took him out of the school district. This is also our first year in the school district, which is just like completely unfathomable to me that we sought out the school district. I was actually a Bulldog when I was younger, and we sought out Kearney. We worked really, really hard to get into Kearney, to get a school district that I thought was going to be excelling for my child. And it turned out to be the complete opposite, to the point that we unenrolled him and we're homeschooling him now to try to get him even up to grade level. I'm not even trying to get him up to, the next grade or up and beyond. I'm trying to get him to the point where he can actually be equal with peers in other schools. And it's just really disheartening that these procedures are in place when they're obviously not effective and obviously not working. Furthermore, we have a child that passed away due to a vaccine injury. And when I hear this talk of requiring vaccines, what so many people don't understand is that my oldest child doesn't apply for a medical exemption because the way that the law is written states that a child cannot have the medical exception just because a sibling passes away. If my child were to get a medical exemption, he has to physically experience an anaphylactic experience or some other kind of traumatic event medically in order to apply for that. So we have to use some little skirt system of applying for religious exemption just for him to have the freedom of an education, of which we had to fight with the school district for him to even be enrolled because the school nurse gave us false information from that. And I actually had to hire a lawyer and threaten the school district because of all of this. Like, I mean, I can see your mouths moving, so I'm not sure. I can't hear what you're saying.
I'm telling you that it's been 3 minutes. If you want to,
He's talking, but I can't hear what he's saying. If somebody else, I mean, it would be really nice if you could just come out so I could hear what you're saying, but I can't hear what you're saying. But I mean, I can see your mouth
Come
moving.
outside.
all right. Your 3 minutes are up. Thank you. Okay. That's the last of our presenters. The first presenter decided not to present this evening, so we only have 4. Thank you, everyone, for your thoughts. We appreciate what you have to say. We know you are all very interested and very invested in your children and for the children of the district. Appreciate your time and to be here and present. Next, we have recognitions. Ms. Starzl? The Golden Girls who received second place at state. There are a number of them. Also a number who received academic all-state. Ms. Starzl is going to talk to us about the year and about their performances. Ryan, are you going to try to get all of the girls onto? Okay. It'll take some time for everybody to get on. We're trying to log each of the students on as well as Ms. Starzl, so they can all be part of this. So bear with us a few minutes while we work on that. Everybody's on? Okay, is Brittany, is she unmuted?
Yes. Hello. Good evening. These are the Golden Girls that we have with us tonight. These Golden Girls this year competed virtually at their state competition. They received first place in state in the POM. They competed in 2 categories, POM and lyrical dance. They received first place in the state in the POM routine, which was choreographed by one of our alumni, Katie Rodas. And then they received second place in the state in their lyrical routine, which was choreographed by our own coach, Samantha Anderson. Overall, these Golden Girls received second place in the state in Division 3 out of 14 teams. These girls, we also had 2 solos compete at the state competition virtually as well. Senior Madison Lear submitted a solo, and she is a senior state champion soloist out of 61 total senior dancers, which is awesome as well. It was her first time ever competing with the Golden Girls as a team, so that was good as well. And then we had sophomore Sophia Brown. She received second place in the sophomore category out of 43 dancers. We also had 10 girls receive academic all-state honors for GPAs of 3.5 or above. Madison Lear, Kaya Curtis, Jessa Baldwin, Ava Yark, Madison Pennington, Sophia Brown, Madeline Duncan, Eden Ursick, Lily Liberty, Carly Watkins, and Chloe Ferris as well. So these girls had a really great season, despite competing virtually, which is something that is definitely much harder to do than in person because it's never going to be good enough. It's never perfect. So congratulations to them and all their hard work.
Congratulations to you. So how does it work? How do you perform remotely?
We actually had to video them in the gym. We had multiple days through the week where we had to video them, and then we just submitted a video recording, which also is kind of sucks too, because we were cut off 2 weeks short. Normally we would have 2 extra weeks to prepare and to practice and to perfect the routines, but we had to submit 2 weeks earlier than normal. So yeah, we video them, they watch it, we decide if it's good, and then we submitted it.
How was practicing? How was preparing for that been? I mean, other than the 2 weeks short, besides that.
Yeah, it's we all have our days. We have our rough days as a team, and then we have our great days where we're like, well, that was awesome. But these girls, they dance not only at school, but then they go to the studio after and dance until 9 o'clock at night. So sometimes, we don't always get their best days, but I think that's with everything. But they always pull it out in the end, every single time.
Great. I know Madison is a senior. How many other seniors are there?
We had 3 seniors this year. 3 seniors.
Any of the girls going on to perform in college?
As of now, no. We do have 1 more trying out, and I don't think her tryouts are until next week at Missouri State. So.
Okay. It's a fantastic year. These are tough conditions for everybody. We really appreciate your dedication and your success. Commend you for it, and again, applaud you for it.
Yeah, I give a shout out to my niece, Ava York. Nice job. Really proud of you. And I got approval to embarrass you. So nice job. Nice job, Golden Girls.
Girls, is there anything any of you would like to tell us? Madison, anybody else who would like to talk? Hold up your hand and we'll make sure that you're unmuted. Don't all hold your hand up at once.
Didn't Gigi Lear get a special award for her individual?
Madison did.
Madison did.
Yes.
Maybe Madison.
Congratulations, Madison, on your first place. That's fantastic.
Sophia got second.
Yeah. And Sophia on second. Both incredible.
So maybe Madison should tell us how she feels about getting first. Yes, she's in the top right corner. Yes.
Hello, thank you guys. I don't know.
Tell us about your senior year.
I mean, there were some challenges with COVID, but as a team, we pulled through. And it was good to be able to compete, even if it was virtually, because I was really looking forward to that, to get to do that as a team one more time. Because camp was virtual this year, or we stayed home instead of going to UCM like we normally do. So I was a little worried in the beginning, But we made do and we made adjustments as needed. And I appreciate you guys and the school board and the school district for helping us to make everything possible as much as we got to do.
Thank you. Thank you on behalf of all the board too. Appreciate it. Good luck, seniors. We'll miss you. Look forward to everybody else coming back next year and hard work again. Thank you again, everybody. Next, we have journalism. Missouri Interscholastic Press Awards. Everybody who is waiting for, we'll take us a few minutes to put everybody else online. So bear with us, please. Karen Johnson is the sponsor who will be presenting to us.
Yeah, we're.
By video, yeah. By video or?
Video, like a report.
Okay. Bear with us, folks. Few technical difficulties. We'll get there. Thanks for your patience.
It is not working. Mr. Kelly, it is not working. The audio will not work. No audio.
Okay.
There we go.
Right.
Yes, there is two audio.
I'm Karen Johnson. Thank you for inviting us tonight to honor these students for their excellent work this year. First, we start with recognitions for the 2020 Clipper Yearbook earned in the fall semester, including Walsworth Gallery of Excellence, CSPA Gold Medalist with All Columbian Honors, NSPA First Class with Marks of Distinction, and All Missouri Overall Yearbook. We also brought home awards from nationals, including Best of Show 6th place for the Clipper Yearbook, and honorable mention for Morgan Woods with her sports action photography portfolio. They carried on this winning photography tradition with MIPA Photo of the Month competitions, where we won more than we've ever won before. Kaylin Higgins started that off in October, Kaylee Baggerly and Morgan Wood in November, Mackenzie Nelson in December, Michaela Schmoll in March, and Morgan Wood capped it off. Congratulations to those who earned All Missouri Awards from MIPA, which is the top 10% of entries, including Gabe Kofelt and BBN Crew, Morgan Wood, and Kaylee Baggerly. Kaylin Higgins also earned a Superior, along with Morgan Wood, and the Clipper Yearbook staff for their theme concept. KHS TV, Abby Duncan, Gabe Kofelt, and Kaylee Baggerly as producers, and Morgan Wood, along with Abby Duncan, also earned awards. With MJA or other state competition, the Clipper Yearbook earned finalist in the Theme of the Year category, and then at JEMKC with that same theme, they earned second place. Congratulations to these students on some phenomenal work this year.
Girls, I can't tell who all's here. Is Kaylin Higgins? Are you on? Could you tell us a little bit about the yearbook and what this process was like?
It was definitely very difficult. We have a very small staff this year, so it was already going to be hard enough. And then with COVID, we had to just try to fight hybrid. But I think our team really just pushed through and tried to persevere through all of the challenges. And I'm really proud of our team for being able to complete this book and winning so many awards.
Fantastic. Can't compliment you enough on that. Anybody else? Gabe, you haven't been with us. Were you able to listen online? Take off your mute, Gabe.
Yes, I was able to watch. I just kind of hidden.
Okay. You want to tell us about your year, what you thought?
This year was difficult with training and seeing people every other day, but after we got that down, it was smooth sailing. We were able to get out high quality broadcasts for sports of football, basketball, and even spring this year.
Fantastic. Anybody else who'd like to talk about your year? Just raise a hand or start talking. Nobody else? Sure, somebody. Anybody go into school for journalism next year or in 2 years?
Kaylee wants to talk.
Kaylee. Take off mute.
So I'm currently at a soccer game helping film it, so it might get loud in a minute. But I just want to say congratulations to everybody, and I'm just proud of everything we've done through this. With COVID going on, it definitely hasn't been easy for any part of the journalism program, but we've kind of persevered and been able to make the best of it and make lots of memories together that I know we'll cherish for the rest of our lives. And it's definitely, this year has helped us for our futures, just to have to change so quickly with everything we're doing.
Yeah. Glad to hear you made it through. Are you at the girls soccer game, the Kearney girls soccer game? Give us a score, time.
It's currently in overtime. There's 12 minutes and 40 seconds left, and it's tied 1-1.
So are you broadcasting?
No, Schwarzenbach and Remley had just asked me to come out and stream it on an iPad for them.
Fantastic. Thanks for all your dedication. Anybody else want to tell us anything about your year, your thoughts? Thank you all again. Congratulations. Appreciate all your dedication, hard work. Next, staff introduction.
So I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce two new district leaders we'll have for the 21-22 school year. Our new elementary curriculum coordinator will be Allie Stewart. Allie's been a reading interventionist with us since 2014.
Glad to have you on board in your new position.
Thank you very much.
And we have Bryson Travis with us. Bryson will be the new assistant elementary principal out at Dogwood next year. Bryson comes to us from Excelsior Springs. He started out as an elementary teacher and instructional coach, and has been working the last few years as data and assessment for the district. And so with that knowledge, bringing that in there. And when you meet Bryson, you're going to see that you have a very energetic young man that some elementary kids are going to really do. So great hire, and we welcome Bryson to the Kearney School District.
Bryson, glad to have you on board. Are you from Excelsior or just work there?
Yeah, from Excelsior, so K-12 district for the 11 years. So I'm excited to change my colors here. It's been the first time.
You just have to change one up.
Yeah, it's true. It's purple. We can keep the gold, right?
Glad to have you both in your new positions. Fantastic. Appreciate you coming tonight. Next, we have consent agenda. Entertain a motion.
Move that the consent agenda be approved as presented. Second.
All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Next. Financials, information items. Ms. Elsa?
Currently, the district is still on track to pay 25% for the operating fund for this year. Does anyone have any questions about the financials?
So at this point, there's not much chance that there's going to be a significant change since we're less than a month at the end of the fiscal
Less
year.
than a month, we'll wrap up our purchases. So as long as everybody's staying on track, we're good. Hopefully we'll gain a little bit more.
From that, I think we had anticipated 21, 22%. Did we have less expenditures or more income? Or both?
More income. We got, when we started the year, we did not anticipate getting the state funding. So we now have 100% funding there, plus the extra federal funding for COVID. And there has been reduced expenses across the district.
Anything else we need to know about school finance right now?
Not this point. Talk a little bit more when we get to go there.
Next, Lynn's expansion.
Hello, how are you? Good. Really well. So I do have a presentation here. I'm Rebecca Parks. I'm the principal at Southview and Lens. And I just wanted to give an update on the Lens expansion. I think that this is pretty exciting that we get to expand Lens for just a variety of reasons. You know, I know that you've heard just a ton of talk about 21st century skills, real world learning, and that's what Lens is built on, really. So I think this is a pretty awesome quote from Getting Smart website: authentic learning experiences in which critical thinking, collaboration, and solving complex challenges while integrating the schools and the communities are critical 21st century skills for college and career readiness. So I think it's important that we begin that at the elementary level. And Lens is a great place for us to continue to support that with those real world learning experiences. So Lens, as you know, is a place-based school with a focus on project-based learning. And these are some of the big components with place-based, these design principles. And then with project-based, the gold standard project-based learning, these are elements that we focus on when it comes to our professional development. So you see a lot of crossover there, and it just really meshes with those. I mean, it's all 21st century skills. So a little bit about the expansion. So we opened Lens last year, and we started with 44 students, 2 sections. We expanded and added a section, and we ended up this year with 61 students. So we have 1 section of 3rd, 1 section of 4th, 1 section of 5th. And then next year we're doubling it. So that's pretty exciting. We will end up having 6 sections, 2 of 3rd, 2 of 4th, 2 of 5th. And we are also increasing the number of students that are in each classroom as well. So, you know, this was all new last year, and then we added 1 new section for this year. So that was an addition to what we are currently operating on within the district. And then I think a really cool thing about this is that we do get to expand, but these are 3 reallocations. So we've really looked across the district at how can we make the most of our resources. And we were able to look at our lottery system, and instead of doing a sign up if you are interested for Lens, and we did an opt out, we had very few parents or families that opted out. That meant that all of our current 2nd, 3rd, and 4th graders were placed in this lottery if families chose for that to happen. I really feel like we reached just a ton more families this way, and then they still have the choice.
Once you're in the Lens program, if you're in as a 3rd grader, are you then eligible to continue all the way through?
You are, and we do ask our families. We survey them at the beginning of the year, and then we ask for a commitment at the end of the year. And so our percentage rate on that is really strong. We have 2 students currently who are eligible, out of all of the students who are eligible to continue on that are not 5th graders. We have 2 that are not returning. So that's a pretty good rate, yes. And then also, with that being said, then with our new lottery system, we have an 80% acceptance rate. And really that's like with very little advertising. So I feel like the word has gotten out about Lens. I've made just a ton of phone calls talking to families. So we've had families that immediately accept, and then some that have reached out to me, and others that I have followed up with on a phone call just to give a little bit of information. We had 2 different parent or family information, a daytime option and then an evening option early on. But I feel like with like I said, with very little advertising and an 80% acceptance rate, then that's pretty good. So our goal is to have about 140 students, and we are sitting nearly at that. We have, give or take, about a handful of slots available to fill. But another win for this, and I'm going to go to that now, is that so not only have we increased the opportunities for students, and I would say that we've done that in a couple of different ways by having more openings, so more students who are eligible to attend, as well as having the opt-out piece, because I think that we've missed a lot of families by doing the other way. And so, so definitely an increased student opportunity, as well as a space savings opportunity. So we've talked a lot about some of our elementary buildings having a spacing issue where we need to look at how can we have space for those support staff and those support classrooms. With this plan, then we were able to have more students come from different buildings to help with that spacing. So Dogwood, which is one of those schools that we've been talking about, they actually will have 2 full-size classrooms now that are available to help with those support staff situations. And then the same is true for Southview as well. Currently, we have, some of you have gone through tours, and we have Currently, we have special education teachers that are sharing a classroom. Those teachers are going to have their own classroom, and once again, some of our support staff will move out of what was intended to be closets into resource rooms. So big win. And then a huge one, I'm sure, for the board is that this is no additional cost with Lens, because we are once again reallocating those positions. So we have current staff members within the district that are transferring over to Lens. So win-win for everyone there. Quickly, just want to show you how we're expanding as far as space. This map here shows the junior high A wing. Currently, where that green line is, towards the bottom, is where Lens is currently located. And then the rest of that, all the way to where you see B101, all of that space is the A wing, and Lens will be occupying that. We have a few teachers that are going to be using some of that space from the junior high just because of the resources that are available within that room, but the junior high administration was gracious enough to say, sure, come on down. So we'll be in that space, which gives all of our teachers space. Specialist teachers will have more space. I think a big win for Lens is that they will have like a lunch room where they can eat. So that's huge. And as far as upcoming plans, when you're talking about expansion, then we need to consider training and what that looks like for our teachers. So we have PDL training that is happening in June and July. Our current teachers at Lens will go through like the second round of training through the Buck Institute, where we saw those gold standards. We have regular team collaboration, and we've actually had some Lens site visits as well. So we're really pushing that at the elementary level for teachers across the district to be able to come over to Lens and just see firsthand what project-based learning is all about, and that it's really not that scary. So I think that that's going to help a big push to expand PDL across the district. Any questions?
So the families had an opportunity to opt out before they were selected. Can you they opted out after they were selected?
Yes. So there were some. I mean, I think that when you send out communication, sometimes you hit a good chunk, and then other times you don't. And so so that's where those phone calls came in, or they received a letter and they could give me a call. And then for some of them, it was a quick, yes, we want Lens, we've heard about this. And for others, like, tell me more about it. And then they accepted or declined. And then some said, you know what, this isn't something we were interested in, and we missed that opt-out piece, which is fine. I have actually had other phone calls, I think, which is a positive for it, on, can you tell me if there's still a wait list? I've been really wanting my child to be part of this. And so we're really following those parameters on how the wait list works. But we definitely have some that are just still fingers crossed, hoping that that their child attends.
So obviously, if you have just the opt-out, there were a lot more folks who wanted in than had the option.
I would say so. I mean,
So we have all 4 spots filled with some.
we have, gosh, like I said, it's about a handful plus-ish. We've had some recent acceptances that where they're actually moving out of district. So we're continuing to fill spots as we have declines or changes and just, their own situation.
And we had worked to try to balance the number of students in the current elementaries as part of the way we made the selection for this.
Absolutely. So that helped. We looked at the total numbers across the district at each section or at each grade level in each building. And then, as every year when we start looking at sections, then say, okay, well, plus or minus, then we might need to add a section, or we could reduce, with really being mindful of class sizes. And so we might have had, you know, some grade levels had a little bit more opportunities at a certain building because of that. So if they were on the edge a little bit, then we would pull a few more kids to help with those sections, and that's where those reallocations came from.
We had 3 teachers this year, moving to 6 next year.
Yes.
Are there any paras or any other support staff that helps with that?
At this point, no. However, we do look at, Dr. Gilkey every year looks at our support staff with our paraprofessionals in special education, and our certified staff, whether it's our special education teachers, our speech and language pathologists, our therapists, and their caseloads across the district. And then that changes, like, so someone or, you know, those support staff personnel will come over and service students at Lens.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
Kaufman Research Student Presentation.
So the interesting, I think the connection here is with the board's goal about real world learning, and that initiative is at Lens, we're seeing that at the elementary level, and Dr. Parks talked about the expansion of PBL training at all of our elementaries. And then next agenda item shows what real world learning can look like at the high school level. So that's what Ms. Freeman is here to present.
Okay, I've gathered up some students who've been doing some really cool stuff within the community and outside of the community, doing some client connected projects. So I told them, that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to let them steal the show. So if you guys want to introduce yourselves, and then these are 2 separate groups, 2 different projects. So if they can introduce themselves, and then maybe one group talk about their project, and then the other. And guys have any questions?
Hi, I'm Flannery Simmons. I'm a junior.
My name is Megan Zimmerman. I'm also a junior.
My name is Aiden Holt, and I just graduated on Sunday.
I'm Vince Stoll. I also graduated on Sunday.
I'm Danielle Barnes, and I also graduated on Sunday.
So me and Peyton, we did like a hands-on client connect project. We were approached by Mrs. Remley. We both took her marketing class, and she asked us if we wanted to do this, and we said absolutely, that would be awesome, because I think I can speak for both of us. It's like more hands-on, it's real world learning, and it's not sitting in a classroom and doing something not about that, but it's just a lot more fun this way. And I feel like I learned a lot more. It's not like A, B, C, or D. It's just like you do it or you don't. Like you have to succeed. You have to do a good job.
So our project consisted of teamwork with the Kaufman Foundation. We worked closely with Christopher Harris, who is one of the senior officers of entrepreneurship over at Kaufman Foundation. So the main goal of our project was to connect with different businesses in the Kansas City area and figure out what is best suited for rural areas to help at-home workers and remote workers, and what kind of things that they need and what is most important for those workers.
Yeah, so we worked with Chris Harris, and we had his help along the whole way, kind of the whole way. We did a lot of our work, and we would like report to him. Sometimes we would report back, and then towards the end, like a week before school, he Zoomed us, and we kind of hit a wall at that point, and we were needing some advice on what to make, I guess, or for our scorecard. And then he had a really good idea, and he was able to get the tools to do that. So he has got that data as for what we know.
So what were your conclusions?
So near the end of the project, we created a list of questions that could be used to create a scorecard. Those questions consisted of like regular questions that is good for a city to have. And then we had questions that were specific to remote working and working at home. And then from there, we sent those questions to Chris Harris, and he is using SurveyMonkey Apply to create a scorecard and then send it out to those businesses in our area.
So you created the process, not reached the conclusion.
Correct.
And we made all of the questions and then we weighted it based on most important, but we also had to weight it more on like remote work since that's what we're working on. So like, I believe there were 7 categories. It was like environment, like social, and it was all, there were a few different questions in each of the categories, I guess. And so like, I think we had from 2 to 5, that was kind of our point scale. And so like clean air and clean water, we rated that a 5. Like, we need that and, you know, a good place to live. But also since we're looking for people who want to do remote work, we rated that a 5 as well, because that's kind of like what we're geared towards.
Enjoy it.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's great to have like a way to work hand on hand. And I think that's why doing this with Ms. Freeman has just been a lot of fun, because it gets us out of the classroom and it allows us to do things with area or places in our area. And in a way, it helps you learn quicker and more efficiently, I would feel like.
So what's next up for both of you that have graduated? So what's up for you two next?
I did A+, I'm gonna go to Maple Woods for 2 years and I'm gonna go somewhere else. I'm gonna be a wildlife photojournalist. So probably like major in biology, just like something outdoorsy, I guess.
I'm planning to going to KU next year and getting a dual major in biology and healthcare administration.
Also, a little fun fact, my mom had Peyton as a first grade student. And then I had him in my 9th grade class, and then we get to work together again.
Yeah, so I was in one of Mrs. Stevens' business classes and she approached me early on in the semester and was asking if I'd be interested in doing this client connected project with Mrs. Freeman. So our project consists of interviewing local business owners in Kearney and residents and students to see kind of what they want to see more of in the community, business-wise. So what businesses do you want to see? What businesses do you think are not as important? And so that's where our project kind of started. I started with talking to Liberty and Excelsior's downtown revitalization group and their committee, some of their committee members, asking them kind of what worked, what didn't work, what are some things that you found along the way, just to see kind of where we needed to start. And
I'll talk about first why I wanted to be involved in this. So I was talking to Ms. Freeman one day, and I heard her talking about this, and redoing downtown Kearney has been a project that I've been pretty passionate about since moving here 3 years ago. I grew up in Colorado, and we had awesome downtowns where families just gathered, and I had a lot of great ideas that I wanted to bring to Kearney. So in hearing about this project, I was super eager to get involved and try to make a difference in the community. So some of the next parts of the project that we did, so we sent out surveys to students as well as residents around Kearney. We got almost 500 responses. We just asked them what they wanted to see, events they wanted to see, stores, and just what they wanted us to bring to downtown Kearney. In the school survey, we got so many responses. It was awesome. And we saw that students really wanted more entertainment-based things. And as for residents and also students, they wanted a lot of food trucks and live music. In addition to this, we also went and interviewed some local businesses talking about why they thought that downtown Kearney was a good place for their business. So it's really cool just to see their responses and what they have to say about downtown Kearney, what they want to see.
we wanted to be sure to include the businesses who are already here and get their insight for future businesses to come and not try to step on their toes or anything. We just want to improve the business that they have and wanted to see kind of what they thought could improve that.
So through this project, we actually got to present it in front of a committee.
Through the Kearney Commission.
Yeah, and we got to sit in on one of those meetings, which was really cool. And we actually asked us to join the committee so we get to keep working on this project. And it was just really cool to, yep, there's us. So yeah, it was really cool to see that, like, we're actually making a difference, like, we get to keep working on this, and it's just really cool to see what goes on in those meetings and how we can be a part of it.
A lot of the behind the scenes things that we didn't really realize had to happen. We talked in our last meeting on, it was Monday or Tuesday of this week, with the zoning or the ordinance guy and all of that. And just went way over all of our heads. We had no idea what he was really talking about, but it's kind of cool just to see, how much behind the scenes goes into bringing new business to town.
If you guys, so awesome projects, but if you guys, would you have done this without Mrs. Freeman coming and finding you guys, or did you already heard about it? Or?
If I would have, she's the way that I heard about it. I think that if I would have had other ways, or if I would have learned about this committee in a different form, I definitely would have been trying to get on it, but I also think that the committee wasn't really searching out students to be part of them. So I think it was a super cool opportunity. So we're really.
So since having her in the building was awesome.
Yeah. I do love having her.
That's great.
She joined the committee and then.
I invited myself.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Great to hear.
Absolutely.
Something you guys.
One of you
want to
is a
be the
senior. What are you gonna do next year?
Yes, I'm a senior. I'm gonna go to Williamsville to major in elementary education.
You guys think the two of you that are remaining, you think you're gonna continue doing some of this stuff?
Oh, yeah. We spoke with them, so they said they want to keep us coming and helping, which is really cool, and
Even Aiden, she's
Yeah,
going to
she's
do,
just-
she's going to come back.
Plan on staying on the committee.
Well, I appreciate you seniors showing up.
He had to. He's had too many Whitfords. I mean, he's got, he didn't have a choice. Freeman now, but Whitfords.
Yeah.
Thank you all for telling us about the projects. Great to hear. Ms. Freeman, great to hear what you're doing. That you get involved. So, appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
Good luck to seniors on your next one. Ms. Copper, you gotta take the podium and you're going to sit where you are.
Well, not for the summer school one I want. Just a quick update. Our summer school is gonna be a full 20-day summer school. Our elementary, we are going to have our math and reading components in there. We are really gonna try to close gaps that we still have from issues from COVID. Ms. Stewart, Allie Stewart, that you met earlier, and the other reading interventionist, Clara Steffen, they have pulled the reading data on every child who is going to be attending summer school, elementary summer school, and we will be working with those kids at their level, lots of small group work. I mean, we are going to, our plan is to gain a lot of ground. Allie and Clara have also created a pacing guide to take the kids through summer school. I mean, we have incredibly high hopes. We have done our classroom teachers, our reading teachers, our reading interventionists, our administrators, they have just done a phenomenal job this year of closing gaps, but we're not quite there yet. So we are really hoping summer school does it. Right now, we have a slightly higher enrollment than usual for summer school, which I'm thrilled with because I think everybody is just wanting this year to be over. So I'm glad people are willing to send their kids to summer school to try to continue making ground. Our teachers have done a great job reaching out to families, encouraging parents to send their kids to summer school, especially those kids who are still behind. Right now, for Southview Summer School, we have 339 enrolled, and at Dogwood, we have 277. That was as of yesterday, so there might be a few more, for a total of 616. At our high school level, we have 194 new credits that kids will be taking. We also have, right now, we only have 36 in high school credit recovery, but we always know how that goes. Sometimes the parents have to see those end grades before those kids get signed up for those credit recovery classes. So I would anticipate that those credit recovery numbers will be going up. We also have a high middle school remediation this year. That was by invitation. Those students who had failed the majority of their core classes in both the 6th, 7th, and 8th grades. So there will be 2 sessions for that, a morning session and an afternoon session. Each one will contain a math component as well as an ELA component. We also have the Algebra 1 remediation for those kids who are in 7th grade. They want to be in Algebra 1 next year. They're just not quite there. So we will have an enrichment course for them to kind of get them over that hump so they're ready to take.
You haven't had that one before, have you?
Yes, yes. Yes, we have always offered that. I mean, that is by parent choice. They really like their student in that upper level math, but not sure if they're quite there yet. And then our Readers Roundup, that will take place in July, our 2 weeks of just an intense reading intervention. That is by invitation only as well, and we will be inviting approximately 75 kiddos to that as well.
How do these numbers compare to 2 years ago?
Honestly, as far as just our high school numbers are up. As far as our first time credit takers, we are offering more. Some of those are online classes, blended classes, but we have several teachers that are offering, they wanted to offer in person. They wanted to teach in person. Our elementary numbers, this is a little bit higher. And I'm actually really happy with the number that we have. It might go up a little bit more, but this being such a tough year and so many people frustrated, I'm glad that we have this many kids going. And we are going to really focus on those academics, but these kids are still going to have a lot of enrichment and a lot of fun. We want them to want to keep coming back, but we also want to close the gap while they're doing it.
Reading recovery, how does that compare?
We have higher numbers for Readers Roundup, kids that we'll be inviting, yes.
Thank you for that. Diversity.
Okay, now I will. Have a presentation for that. Okay, so just kind of a quick update for our diversity, equity, and inclusion task force. I want to thank the DEI task force. We have a very passionate group of people. It consists of community members, business owners, parents, members of the Ministerial Alliance. We have teachers, counselors, administrators, school board members, and support staff are all represented on our task force. We have established our diversity, equity, and inclusion values. Those are respect the dignity of all persons, act with transparency, fairness, integrity, and honesty, build meaningful relationships, and recognize individual potential and achievement. And I will tell you, this was a lot of discussion, serious discussion to come up with our values for our DEI. Our mission statement is still a work in progress. We have identified the key players and the concepts, but again, we have a very passionate group, and this work doesn't always happen quickly. We want to make sure we have exactly what we want. We will finish our mission statement up on our next meeting on June 3rd, and at that time, we will also come up with our vision statement. So a couple of years ago, when we first started the task force, we came up with our pillars, which were professional development, policy and procedures, student culture, community, and curriculum. This year, I will tell you, we have been concerned about the pace that we have been moving. This year has been a really tough year, being out of school from March all the way to September, and then we have had a lot of things going on this year. So we did not get our task force together this year until November. But I will tell you, since that time, they have been working hard. We have gotten together every month, and we have had at least 20 people at each meeting. It's hard to get that big of a group together all at the same time, but we have been working hard. So thinking that we haven't done enough, we reflected to think about what have we accomplished so far. So what we have done is we set committees for each of our pillars now, and I think this is a much better way to go because we are getting more work done. Initially, everybody on the task force was kind of looking at all of the pieces. We thought if we break this into committees, we're going to get a lot more work done. So as we reflected, these are the things that we have in place. We have Panorama, which you all know you approved that program. An important piece of that is our social emotional learning survey to help us identify kids who may feel marginalized and might need that social emotional support. We know that our Summer Institute this year, we are going to have DEI concepts taught at Summer Institute. And it was important to the task force that we have mandatory PD for our teachers. So for our August PD, we will have 2 sessions that will be mandatory. Those are creating safe spaces and restorative practices. The goals that I'm going to show you, this is not an inclusive list of the goals of the task force, but kind of some of the highlights, identifying what concerns the staff have, what support they feel like they need. We have already sent a survey out. About a week ago, we sent a survey out to the staff, and we have been getting those results back in, what kind of support they feel like they need, determining what PD should be mandatory. And we want to think about, DEI, that is incredibly important work for the district. So we want to figure out how this will tie into the district's strategic plan. The policy and procedure that currently they have already reviewed and revised KSD policies and practices, procedures. They want to make sure that they're looking through that lens that's comprehensive and consistent for everybody. And they're looking at more restorative practices when they're thinking about discipline. I know Mr. Morrison he's already worked with assistant principals on those restorative practices. So it is more of a teachable moment. And it also pulls kids in to help kids to become allies for those marginalized kids. It doesn't only pull in the kids who might have been directly affected, but those bystanders to talk to them about how did they feel during an incident and what did they do, what might they have done, could they have helped the situation. So I think building those allies are huge. The goals for the policy and procedure group is really what they want to do through various ways. They want to provide support and empower students and staff so that we can create an environment that's safe and inclusive for all. Student culture, we currently have our Kind Club. We did our Spirit program where the kids identified issues in the school. We have our Spirit Council, and through the Children's Fund, we have purchased items and created safe places, or in the elementary school, calm down places for all the students if they feel like they need those spaces. Their goals, a lot of it deals with the elementary because as we have gone on, we have determined that it is so important to get more of this information into the elementary schools. So the Kind Club is going to start working with our elementary buildings. We're going to start pulling more DEI concepts into the buildings, providing supplies, making sure they have books and posters that represent equity and acceptance. And they also want to have assemblies that address and teach about diverse topics. Curriculum, this is probably where we have the most work to do. We do have pockets of teachers who are very aware and responsible in their classroom lessons, but we know that we've got a lot of work to do. We want to create a yearly calendar for age-appropriate topics. We want to talk to other districts and see what they're doing, what is working. We want to add high school classes to provide cultural competencies. We even want to figure out a way to work that into being a market value asset, because we know kids need to have these cultural competencies to be successful out in the world. Develop a K-12 scope and sequence for DEI curriculum, develop lessons for the teachers to implement. And then importantly, we want to have a way for teachers to give us feedback what they need from us. Community outreach, we've worked with on the billboard project, as well as the community spirit program, that with things getting better with COVID, we hope that that can roll forward soon. They also want to identify different community groups who are ready for these conversations and combine community groups and teachers and facilitate these discussions or listening circles. And we'd like to identify marketing and communication tools so we can attract a more diverse clientele. We are also, we worked with POAC still this year. We went through 2 sessions of the anti-bullying. Unfortunately, we had to do it virtually. It was great. I think it probably would be more impactful if we could do it face-to-face, and next year our plan is to do it face-to-face. We did have 2 middle school groups go through, 2 junior high groups, and 4 high school groups. Again, we did this during hybrid, when on Wednesdays when kids got on their own time. It was kind of tough, but I do believe it was still impactful. Our next steps, again, we sent the staff survey, so we're analyzing all that information. From what I have seen, almost all of the staff, they want this information, they want the training, they want us to get better. The committees are planning on working over the summer to get the next school year all planned out, and before we start school, we plan on having a timeline for each committee group for the 21-22 school year. Any questions?
Susan, any thoughts? You're on the committee too, aren't you?
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
Camilla?
I think we're doing a lot of really, really good work. Especially the past couple meetings, I just feel like now we've got some momentum. And then, for any of you that have kids that have been on any of these committees or clubs and that kind of thing, they have very positive things to say about it too. So I feel like we're making headway.
I think the group is to a point where there's a greater comfort level for discussion within the meetings by some of the parents and some of those things. I think it's really valuable. It'd be great to see more of that, but just different folks who are speaking up and feel more comfortable speaking up, I think is really, really positive. I think that given the pandemic, we've done great work, and I look forward to what we can do, and we can meet more in person and have the students be more involved.
One thing I thought was really encouraging, we have had quite a few new staff members that have joined, and they have asked to join because they feel passionate about the work. So that's super encouraging to me.
I think you're finding a lot of kids, especially now that they're back in school and everything, the time, are feeling more comfortable in standing up for each other. So I think some things are working that it's not gonna be any way to really measure it, you know, but I think good things are happening.
Yeah, it's just not a fast process, but as long as we're making progress.
Thank you. Make sure we have action items. Okay.
Move to appoint Darlene Bailey as MSBA delegate for the 2021-2022 school year for the Kearney R1 school district.
Second.
All those in favor? Motion carries unanimous. Thank you, Darlene.
Move to approve the appointment of Dan Holloway to the position of liaison to the Kearney School District Education Foundation.
Second.
All those in favor? Motion carries unanimous.
Move to readopt policy BBFA as presented.
Second.
All those in favor? Motion carries unanimous.
Move.
One more. That's if you want to talk.
So the fiscal year 22 preliminary budget is being presented this evening. It represents the continuation of a budget approach that's been in place in the school district for quite some time, which is to be relatively conservative when it comes to looking at revenue factors from state and local and federal levels, and to be a little more aggressive when it comes to expenditures. So what that creates and what the district has experienced over a number of years is a good variance between what's in a preliminary budget and then what we see in action. So you'll see the projected fund balance grow from a lower number to a higher number by the end of a fiscal year. So this is no different in that regard. This includes some revenue factors that looks at 3% growth locally, full funding of the foundation formula at the state level, and flat funding at federal. Believe that those are all conservative and we could see higher than expected revenue here, but this is a conservative look. You'll also notice that this preliminary budget reflects operating salary schedule, adjusting salary schedules as presented by the salary committee. You might note that there is it represents increases to two salary schedules totaling 2% addition to operating schedules. So that's all included here, and it's a deficit budget. So currently projecting a 25% end of fiscal year 21 unrestricted fund balance. This preliminary budget projects at 18.1 unrestricted fund balance at the end of fiscal year 22. Does Elsie anything you'd add to that?
Getting more federal numbers in soon, and then of course tax rate will be set this summer.
I think we've got to find ways to enhance our salaries and we're going to continue to lose teachers. We talked about it. We've got to find a way to do that. The likelihood of that is that we're going to have to increase it. We're not competing. We're not competing well. We're just kind of going through the motions, if you want to call it. We're not fulfilling our board policy that says we're going to be in the upper middle 1/3 of our peers. And we've got to find a way to do that. I don't know how we cut from our budget. I know that everybody is cognizant of expenses, but we've got to find a way to better compete with teacher salaries. Somehow, somewhere. I know we're only increasing at 2%. We're still deficit spending, or at least as our budget is, but we've got to find a way to get around it. Like a year to help them. At that point, you guys are on your own. But we've got to think about it. It's important for this community, for the district, for the community. We're not going to be able to keep our teachers. We're having a problem already. So I think that's something we have to be mindful of. I understand the 2% increase this year. We certainly have to be mindful of how we are able to retain our teachers that we have, which we're not doing a good job of. Certainly that means that we're not going to be hiring the best and the brightest to come.
Move to approve the preliminary budget for the fiscal year 2021-2022 as presented.
Second.
All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Anyone have questions about the roll call?
This is just a recommendation for consideration for the salary committee with vacation for those 12-month employees that they accrue 2.5 days over each quarter to get to 10 by the end of each year. And then the changes in personal leave. And then just some wording and then if consecutive days are used.
Move to approve policies GCBDA and GDBDA on first reading as presented. Second.
All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Next, we have board member comment. Close to the end of school, you see the finish line. I say that from this count, it's just at the end of the first leg of the run. Maybe the second leg, still have another one in the summer school. So, I think our district has done phenomenal to get through this year to where we are. There's always challenges. We're never going to make everybody happy. It's just not going to be that way. Make everybody in the school happy. So be mindful of that. But I commend the administration for what you've done. All the hard work to get. Important dates. May 25th, long range facility planning workshop. 26th, last day of school, 1.5 day for students. And on June 23rd, our next board member meeting.
Actually, for a closed session, immediately proceed to regular meeting in June, including any record of vote to discuss items and issues liable under section 610-021 of Missouri Sunshine Law.
Roll call, please.
Carlin Bailey.
Yes.
Brian Ham. Dan Holloway. John Kern.
Yes.
Bruce Switzer. Yes. Susan Morman.
Yes.
Mark Hall.
Yes. Meeting adjourned. So, anybody